I'm gonna go fuck with that boiler. I'll be right back.
Oh, god damn it. Okay,
No, it's
okay.
fine.
Don't.
It's fine. It's fine. He can hide over there. It'll be all right.
So, stealth to the stalagmite. I got a 4.
9.
I also got a 4.
So Bubba's going to the boilers. Everybody else is going to the stalagmites.
Yeah, okay. Well, then our next time we get a chance to move, it's just going to be following Bubba to make sure he doesn't get shot at.
Maybe let's put the boilers on the other side of the stalagmite. So I'm imagining where you guys have gone is still following the edges of the room, sort of using this big rock wall as cover. And then Bubba has to be on the other side of the rock wall as it's more centralized, like air unit that's pumping this stuff in. There's a lot of cover over there. I mean, there's big round cylindrical things, big square air ducts and stuff, tons of pipes. He has plenty of hiding room. He can make it there easily. I think we see a shot of Dorian looking back to see the Shellhound move towards the original entrance and still sort of feeling around with its little front hands on the ground, its little tiny fingers, you know, little tiny fingers feeling around.
Fingies.
Cutting back to Jethro and Kaz, Sly comes out looking at his little smartwatch with a frown on his face that he quickly turns off and turns to a smile as he walks out with his right arm just full of firearms. He walks over to a table and does that thing where like your arms are too full, so you have to move your whole body down to just like drop everything on the table. And then he starts to fan out these weapons.
That's quite the selection.
Well, I didn't want to break the news to you too soon, but it's not as big of a choice as you think. None of them are branded yet.
What does that mean?
Well, how the crows do it is they find
And he does finger quotes in the air.
creation partner. They get some poor sap to sign up to be killed. And the first person killed, I guess how they feel when they die affects how nice it is in the edict once souls start getting sent there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That sounds familiar.
Now, I've branded a few, but it's not really my style. I'm not one to take people off their hard-working farms and kidnap them. I don't know what Mad Dog was doing, but I'm not going to take anyone unwilling and turn them into a edict, you understand? So I'm not really willing to brand them at this time. Now, I would be happy to, in the future, find someone that I could brand it with, if you want to buy the weapon now and we wait 3-4 weeks. Or I can send you home with a do-it-yourself kit.
Would there be a way that we would know it was even an edict if it wasn't branded yet?
Yeah, Bubba could probably figure out for you.
Just Bubba?
Probably just Bubba, yeah. You'd have to do some sort of like sci-fi scan. You couldn't just look at it. Looking at them, they all look crazy, right? They're all probably a little bit bigger. Like, I guess in a firearm, you could just make it bigger and hide some empty cavities in the gun that, like, make it appear like it's an edict. But no, I don't think there's any way without, like, hooking it up to computers or machines or something. There's nothing just on the surface.
Kaz at this point, like, steps forward and with the confident air of somebody who has the money to buy anything he wants, starts picking them up just extremely casually. Just grabs one. Like, he knows firearms, not in a dangerous way, but in a, I could buy all of these if I wanted to, so I'm not worried about the you break it, you bought it policy. He picks one up and like points it down range and even like clicks, pulls the trigger, notices it's firing an
I think at that point... Wait, how much does Kaz know about edicts, first of all?
Well, okay, maybe that would be a mistake on my part. If you said it's not branded yet, it's just a gun, and if there's no round in it, it's literally going to do nothing.
Kaz, I'd like you to make a smarts roll.
All right. Both my 6s blew up.
Ooh.
Oh, you have a D6 and smarts, huh?
D6 and smarts. It blew up again.
Nice.
20. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. I think Kaz actually knows quite a bit about edicts. Mostly because, like, early on, he went on just to, like, I really want to understand this kick. And that's what kind of pushed him into these things are shitty and fucked up. I'm not a big fan of it. They maybe even thought he was on the track to, like, be the director of catalyzation.
Wow, yeah.
He was getting ready to take over the Catalyst program.
And then he went into rehab.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Gotcha. I like that a lot. Well, with the 20, the first thing I'd like to describe is that, I mean, of course, you casually pick up this gun and dry fire it down, just start dry firing them. But when you pick the first one up, It's the feeling of someone putting their pet tarantula into your hand. It's the feeling of like apprehension and fear, and you put it there and your whole focus is sort of drawn to the thing in your hand as you take it up. An uncomfortability. Even though you've handled dozens, maybe hundreds of edicts, this gives you another feeling. And as you start to dry fire it, I think as you hear Sly talk behind you about them being unbranded, you realize you've never held an unbranded edict. You've never held one before the soul gets torn apart and the afterlife is created. And with a 20 in smarts, I think you think back to like, oh man, can that really be true? And in the engineering facilities of the John Henry building, they keep the unbranded ones with a level of care known only to the reliquary of the Catholic Church, right? In our modern day, you do not mess with them, you do not touch them. And there was not ever a direct cause and effect reason. It's just that's how we've been doing it for 200-300 years, right? Since edicts were invented, that's how it's done. And the reasons why have been lost to time. With a 20, these are counterfeit edicts. They have the cores in them. They have the unbranded cores in them. Let's see, how can we give you that information?
Maybe one of them is like designed around the core. There's definitely a potential for one to be like, look, I'm an edict, with like the fucking electronic components.
Sure,
just like out in the open.
I do like the idea of one that you can see the core, like maybe on the left side of the receiver, it's like cut in around the core, almost like button in a really overstuffed couch, like pushed all the way in. It's like that, but the core is the button and the bubbling fabric is the metal surrounding the core on the outside of it. Why don't you ask me 2 more questions about these edicts?
I'm guessing the core of this is the hardest part to make. We've said previously that these are indistinguishable.
At least the one that Luella had was indistinguishable, yes.
Yeah, I think I'd like to know if like the quality of these, to me, not understanding the molecular level and not opening up the system and doing diagnostics the way the Bubba would. To me, do they seem like similar quality?
Yeah, maybe the one that you can peek at, it does seem like the same schematic is followed, similarly to how like motherboards can have all sorts of configurations for how their circuits are lined out. This one is identical to every one you've seen before. They don't mess with the formula anymore. They just do it how they do it, and then it all comes down to the creation partner to figure out the eventual branding. There is an R&D department that tries to make new designs, but it hasn't been improved in 60 years. No one has since found an improvement. Okay. So yeah, besides the Crow logo, it seems indistinguishable.
Okay. And they don't use special ammunition for the catalyst process, right? They just can take whatever bullet it normally would fire?
Yeah, every edict can have a different caliber. They fire normal rounds typically. Obviously, Jethro's is different, and there are some exceptions, but typically they use regular ammo.
Then, I mean, that's really what I would like to know. How many of these are there?
5 of them. I would also say that since you didn't really ask a second question, that one was sort of a freebie. Dry firing, you feel weird, but nothing seems to happen besides the foreboding feeling holding it in your hand. But you've never seen anyone do that before, and you've never seen anyone fire one before it's been branded.
Oh, sure. Kaz looks over at Sly. It's a nice piece. How long have you had this one? I'd like to roll shooting to just kind of demonstrate like some gun handling that I'm not an idiot.
Oh yeah.
That's a 3 and a 1. I'm gonna burn a Benny to re-roll that.
Yeah. Back down to 3.
Yeah. That's another 3 and a 2.
Burn it.
I'm gonna burn another Benny. Yeah. What else am I gonna?
You gotta look cool, man.
Fuck the 3 and a 1 again.
Burn it,
I
son
mean,
of a bitch.
narratively, you can be involved in the edict process if you want to make this a narrative role, but maybe you're just not involved in like firing them that much. Maybe Kaz isn't into that, you know?
You're trying to like spin it around or something, right?
Well, yeah, like a little spin or like a really like a chill. You know how you do the on a semi-automatic, you can do the one hand like slide check where you just pull the slide back with 2 of your fingers to check it. Like he wants to do something equivalent like that, like a pop the cylinder out and easy spin it to just demonstrate that like I'm not a fuck up. I know guns a little bit.
Maybe it's not that you fuck it up. Maybe it's just that Sly's not impressed.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Like what I do is fine. Like, okay, sure. You know guns, but not like oh, this kid knows guns. It's just like, oh, okay. He's not.
It could also be like the first thing I learned when I was trying to play the drums is how to fucking spin the sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Like that does not display whether you know what the fuck you're doing.
That's perfect.
It's
That's
just
very
like,
true.
okay, sure, he did the fancy check thing. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing that.
Okay, that's perfect. I think if it's a revolver style, he pops it out and just like spins the cylinder really fast, like and then snaps it shut. How long have you had this one?
Well, who can say? I've been trying to offload this inventory for, well, I guess 4 months now.
Sure. I'm just not in the habit of paying top dollar for merchandise that somebody's having a hard time selling. The way I see it, I'm almost helping you out.
Let's have you roll persuasion against Sly's spirit here. Loop 6, 11.
I got a 5. I don't think I got to save a Benny from maybe dying later, so.
I think that's cool. Continuing on with the narrative of like, he doesn't really like you is cool.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to try your hand in negotiating with the crows, you're welcome to do that. But unless you got connections, they don't really like
He says R, and then he stops after he says that, and then does a 2-finger point to him and Jethro.
our kind. If you want to play your cards there, you're welcome to, but this is top dollar merchandise in front of you. And I don't mind sitting on it for a couple years. Everybody's looking for an edict, especially when the dice haven't been rolled yet.
With all due respect, Callahan, what was the price again? Sorry, what was the price?
Did we actually talk about a price?
Not yet. Not yet.
No, for sure we did. It was like 15 million or something like that.
50 million sounds good.
With all due respect, Mr. Callahan, I think 15 million is a lot more reasonable to whatever the crows are charging these days. And Mad Dog's dead, so not too many options right now.
Any difference between these? And he like sets the one back on the table and like just starts gently touching them, like moving them a little bit to get like inspecting the merchandise.
To be honest, depends on how your branding goes. Otherwise, there's no difference at all.
Really?
Can't really tell what an edict's about till it's been branded. You might have the best edict that's ever been made in your hands right there. Won't know till you brand it.
I've got some connections Sunside, might be able to do that for you for a price.
And I can send you home with, there's a machine you hook up, and I can tell you the specifics on when you go to brand somebody. We've had good success with drugging them up, but I know that's what the crows do, but so far we haven't found out that process for, well, creating the real choice.
And he does the okay hand signal.
Afterlifes in the guns. They're medium to worse at best.
Sounds like you've got your operations figured out a little better than Mad Dog did.
Well, Mad Dog has a reputation for...
Had
a reputation. But this isn't my main business, you understand? I just got into it for the personal aspect.
And he like flips his rifle around his hand.
Callahan, why don't you try out another one of those guns while I talk to your partner here?
Kaz shrugs and aiming down range just like starts picking them up, testing the feel, you know, the balance. Also, I'm going to look around and see like, can I see the boys? Are they at all visible?
What was their stealth
Roll
roll?
notice, you
Yeah,
fuck.
roll
Yeah, their
Roll
stuff was so
notice.
good, bro.
May I also roll notice? Snake eyes!
You don't know.
Too distracted.
Can we just text back? I mean, it seems like we can text,
We,
right?
we lost service down here.
Oh, that's right. Fuck.
4.
No, I don't think you can see him with a 4. You look around, you don't catch eyes on him. Sly moves into Jethro.
Listen, I hope you don't take this as a slight against me. This isn't my doing, you understand, but security picked up an intruder in the airlock. I think there's somebody in here with us. Now, it's pretty soundproof down here. A lot of engine, hydrogen running up front. It's likely no one will see how however we choose to deal with it. I don't need you to get involved, but I do want you to understand that I'm not trying to murk you underground, you understand? Whoever is in here without my permission or consent, and I'm gonna go find them with the help of my hounds. If you'd like to stay here, you're more than welcome to check out the merchandise. This room ain't too big.
Probably just some drunk party goers. I'll tell you what though, if it is someone who's trying to break up this little party we're having down here, I wouldn't mind helping you dispatch him.
I reckon I'd like that. I don't imagine it's any party goer. It's possible the crows got eyes on us. My security is very foolproof. I doubt anyone could make it in here. I use a very complex algorithm to protect my passwords.
With that, he pulls up his rifle casually, kind of holding it in both hands, and then does a little whistle, amplified through his helmet through the room. And you see the two shell hounds pull themselves upright, the green glowing a little ever so brightly underneath their biomineral armor, and they start to like kind of lightly jog around the room, like dogs doing what's that called? What's it called?
A
with
dog
horses? No, with horses, you know, their little dance they do.
Dressage?
Prance. Yeah.
Dressage. Yeah, the little dressage dance. Very upright, very robotic, very still as they start to move around the room. Jethro, I think we'll get your reaction first. You want to just follow him as he looks around the room?
I know in combat, like, spells only last for a few rounds, right? Like what?
Well, here's what I think. I think that's a little bullshit. I'd rather you be able to carry it in with you. You know, if you're not abusing it. It's like, I was thinking just earlier today about how bleed out rules work. In combat, it takes 6 seconds, 10 seconds for bleed out to happen. Out of combat, it takes a minute.
Cool.
So I think it's almost like, don't worry about it. I think your arm is going to keep going throughout this scene until combat starts. If combat starts.
Cool. Sounds good. So I guess Jethro just holds up that oversized arm, opens and closes the claws a couple times, then follows Sly.
Kaz, I'd like your reaction next. They don't really talk to you. You hear them whispering behind your back. And Kaz kind of has this, I don't know, I feel like he's got a reputation for being dumb. But in this situation, you're very used to paying attention to people talking behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
So while you can't hear them, you know they're talking behind you, and then they pull guns up kind of and start moving around the room. What do you want to do?
I think Kaz is perfectly fine with security too. Like, this is not his first time that he's had people do exactly this around him. So for him, it'll be playing the part. He'll look over, make eye contact with Jethro, and give him like a little...
How much can we see through these helmets? We can't see our eyes, right?
Well, you can see Kaz's eyes, but yeah, maybe not your eyes.
Yeah, because I'm just rocking the respirator. I'll look at you and like wait to get a view where I feel like you're making eye contact and Sly isn't.
Yeah, I definitely turn my head to your direction.
And just give you like a, we know what's up. Maybe even a light, hand to where he keeps his hidden.
Would I know where that would be?
Yeah, I don't, you probably would have seen it in the van as we were all getting ready. He keeps it in an underarm holster.
So maybe Jethro just looks to you, you look back at him, and he taps that spot on his suit where he knows you keep yours.
Mm-hmm. Ready to go when we need to be. And then he'll go back to hanging out. Actually, I would like to look around. Is there ammunition nearby that would fit any of these empty edicts?
I mean, this is a shooting range, so yeah, there's probably some around. Yeah, I'd say yes with your previous notice roll.
Like, people might question if he loads it right now. A weird move, but like, he's just going to make a note and then switch to like holding that gun so he could load it potentially.
And with your previous smarts roll, if you remember the first episode, that blackout that happened over most, like a huge city block as a gun was branded. Mm-hmm. If you managed to shoot and kill somebody with this gun, you imagine, like, you're not sure what would happen if there wasn't a power supply available for the gun. That's never been tested before.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean, you're free to do whatever you want, but
yeah,
could be cool.
I don't think Kaz would be the one to test that, though. So, no, thank you. That's a great point.
I think he's the perfect man for the job.
Could be cool.
Your 20 smarts roll saved you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned it,
Yeah, thanks, pal.
So there are some bullets around. As we cut to the other three, there is one security guard walking with Sly. And this, I just want like what you're doing in the next 5 seconds, and then something's going to happen. One of the security guards is walking towards a panel on the wall. One of them is walking with Sly and Jethro towards the center of the room. And the two dogs, one that was going around the edge and one that's been hanging around Sly, start to like fan out and search the room.
Oh, shit. That's not good. Oh, fuck. Whatever he's going to do at that panel is going to suck for us.
Oh, man, I hope it doesn't turn on extra lights.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
Dorian's
fuck.
gonna
Oh, fuck.
grab his edict and slide it from his back to sort of a ready position.
And Keaton's going to do the same.
Bubba? You're separated from them. You're at the boiler shit. Have you been working on stuff over there already, or have you just been there?
I've probably been working on it depending on how long all this shit takes. I imagine with boiler stuff, it wouldn't take too long, right? I mean, it's probably just a turn on or turn off.
Just turning some valves.
Do I know enough about the anatomy of these dogs to know like it would adversely affect them if I were to turn this off? And I'm talking like immediately like affect them.
What do you think, Alex, about just applying a -1 to all of them if they're not in the gas?
Hold on to your seats. It's animal time with Alex.
Well, these are from the Terminator zone. I didn't want to say anything earlier, but they're actually perfectly adapted to life above ground. The shellhounds are. They've evolved past that point. Their ancestors were subterranean, but these guys they're fully equipped to live outside the gas.
So they're probably more comfortable down here, but they're not going to be any worse.
It's not going to affect them.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll leave that in because maybe what your characters would know looking at them is like they're the fucking underground ones, right? It's hard to tell a difference. But yeah, I guess not. I want to say yes as a rule of cool thing, but yeah, I think we break canon. You could, maybe there's other valves you can turn, like other gases you can push in here.
You could shoot out a bunch of fucking smoke or fog.
Do the suits have like any kind of defogging mechanism or anything like that? Because if I went in the opposite direction and just cranked it up like crazy, could I add negatives to the guards? Like possibly they can't see because there's too much like steam or smoke coming in?
I would say they're wearing very basic suits. Sly has some crazy shit going on. It would affect everyone except maybe Sly. And the dogs, make a smarts roll.
And with this smart roll, would I maybe catch a glimpse of why you would need a respirator or why that would be a beneficial thing?
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you that either way.
Well, I'm going to Benny that. 11.
You know, here's what I'm going to say. I would say rule of cool. While these things are adapted to terrestrial life, their previous evolutions were underground in these gas-filled chambers, right? While they can live perfectly fine on the surface, these ones and specifically have grown accustomed to the gas. Like it's closer to their roots. They've lived in this for like the 3 years Sly has had them. So I would say if you want to turn that dial, I'd give them a -1 from like uncomfortability. It's not so much that they are going to have trouble breathing or anything. You know, it's not going to affect them physically, but psychologically, it's going to give them a -1. With the smarts roll, what I was getting at was that Sly's probably fine. His two guards would probably be fucked by having obscuring gas enter the room. But the shellhounds, you know this, maybe you had some interactions with them on the road. Maybe you watched a documentary about them. The reason they have 4 eyes is they have 2 like humans and then 2 that see in like infravision. They see in the infrared spectra. They can just see through smoke, no problem.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
The respirators and suits, it's just that there's no oxygen. For humans, you can't breathe in here. If you, God forbid, not that this would ever happen, you get a suit breach or your respirator gets damaged, you'd have to start making vigor rolls every round to not slowly lose consciousness.
Gotcha. In that case, what are the chances that there's like a nice lever that I could pull to shut down all the smoke that's pouring into this room?
Yeah, I'd make a repair roll. No negative since you rolled so well on the smarts. You understand the system. You're a fucking mechanic. I mean, it's basic plumbing. There definitely just is ways to turn the fans to high, start filtering out the gas, and start filtering in oxygen. You can do that. No problem.
I'm asking specifically for a lever that I could use as an improvised weapon, maybe if I broke it off.
Sure, like you grab it, pull it to oxygen, and snap it off.
Bingo.
That sounds great. Still make a repair roll, but as long as you don't fail that, you can make the hounds uncomfortable and you got a lever.
All right, I'm doing exactly that, and I got a 9.
Well, what else do you want on top of that? The hounds are going to get a -1. The room's going to start to fill with oxygen, and you got an improvised weapon. What's the raise?
What does an improvised weapon entail me? Is it just strength on damage?
No, I think you get a D4.
Yeah, it is. It's strength and a D4.
A strength and a D4. Maybe I broke this in a certain way that it's strength in a D6. Is that too crazy?
Oh, it's sharp on one
Sure.
end?
Done. Yeah, sounds great.
So Bubba kind of grips onto it, and he's seen this kind of thing before. It's not too complicated. He's worked on some ghost guns and shit like that, crazy stuff like that. So he kind of figures this out, breaks off a handle or breaks off a lever, and he's going to use that as an improvised weapon.
As you snap it off, we cut back to Sly, who gives a... He lets out that whistle, and from his bandolier, 3 of the bullets split open on the bullet end, and they shoot out of his bandolier, convert into these little tiny drones with little propellers attached to them as they start to float out into the room. They immediately light up with super bright green LEDs that fly out in an arc from him, filling the room with light. I'm going to need a stealth roll from the 3 of you that are remaining hidden.
Ooh.
Sly's going to make 1 notice roll. He's going to get a +1 from his optics.
Ooh. 8.
All right, Sly rolled a 5.
I also rolled a 5.
So I think in a case of a tie, before you choose to Benny or not, he wouldn't see you, but he would kind of know where you are. Which, oh my God, he hears the lever
sense,
snapping.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hears the lever snapping.
And I imagine the room stops pouring in whatever the hell it was pouring in before.
Dorian also got a 5.
Either of you want to Benny it?
I am not. It makes sense for him to come my direction.
I'm okay with making him choose.
Well, as the lights fly out, then I think first we get the shot through the boiler pipes, these really thick shadows, because there are these little white pylons, these little glow rod things. You know, you've seen sci-fi movies, they stick them down. But the really heavy, bright light green shadows kind of goes across your face, and Sly like looks that way, and then the drone moves in behind the pipes, and you're gone. You've moved a little bit. Similarly, one of the drones flies behind the stalactite, Marshall, and it changes to red for a moment as you get illuminated in light. Where do you want to move where you'll like be hidden again? You can kind of make up some shit. It could just be in a tractor. It could be...
Yeah, well, you were saying that there were some vehicles that I had avoided hiding in earlier because it felt like maybe it'd be too hard to get out of. But I think maybe, a little stealth roll in their direction so that way I can get, maybe between a tractor and some cargo container that's been set down and supplies are half pulled out of it. He's going to, do a little stealth roll to try to get that direction and get inside the container.
Awesome. I don't think you need to roll it yet. You move that way. Sly's looking at the pipes where he thinks he saw someone move. And the pipes, I think, are sort of in the center. And then off to his right is this rock wall. And then as the LED lights up red, his helmet tilts that way. And then he just moves 2 fingers off with his right hand. And 1 hound is going to follow him towards the pipes. 1 hound is going to follow one of his minions that way, and then the other minion is just sort of in the room somewhere searching away from you guys. He's on the wrong side of the room. So let's go for Bubba first. So you've moved slightly. Do you want to try to continue to hide? What do you want to do here?
Yeah, I would definitely like to hide. Is there any way I could get towards the stalactites, or is that going to be completely covered with people and drones?
Nope, that sounds good, because I still think he's probably only a third of the way made it through the room. They're like in a big sweeping arc, so as long as you're going backwards, that's fine.
Yeah, I definitely want to be heading towards the bros.
Do another opposed roll. He's still getting a +1 from his optics on his helmet. 3.
5.
I'll Benny that. Ooh. I'll Benny that. He's got a 6, dude. How you feel?
You have 3 bennies.
I got 3 bennies, you're right. I'm going to use a benny for sure. Yes. Okay. I got a... Holy shit.
Seems like he's rolling a lot better now that he's remote. Anybody else notice that?
I gotta say,
not the same
that's
room.
pretty nice. But I got a 21.
The funniest part is you can't hear your dice rolling, so you just hear like, I got a okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, you guys, you guys roll some
45.
Roll some dice for me. So look,
Jesus,
sounds
that's a
cool.
99
Okay.
on this D6.
I've
What the
never seen that before. What are the
Oh,
chances?
I'm reading the 6 upside
What are the
down.
chances?
Wow.
So you can make it back to Keaton, probably. Where's Keaton held
Keaton, I think when those lights turned on, he squeezed himself like as the light came around the corner, he jumped up in between like that hole in that fancy looking stalagmite and like squeezed through it so the light didn't catch him. So he's kind of up in it. So like as
that's
Bubba
cool.
comes over to him, he looks down at him and is like, fucking go around. so he can be with me.
Hey, Caleb, considering I got a 21, is there any way I could, like, sneak up on one of these drones and yoink it or something like that?
Sure. Just tell me how it happens. Do you want the one at the boilers or the one by the the rocks where Keaton's hiding?
The ones that were checking out Dorian, because I would probably be heading in Dorian's direction, probably.
Yeah, you tell me how it happens. I mean, it's going to be obvious when the light goes out, right?
Yeah, well, I imagine, honestly, I don't even think I'm using any of my repairing background. I think I'm just kind of sneaking up behind it and just kind of grabbing the shit out of it, right?
Just smacks that shit out
I'm
of
just
it
a
with
big
his pipe.
boy, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, is there any way, is it something that, like, I could possibly reprogram, or is this more of like they're so small that it's like a little bug kind of thing?
You know, I'd say you could try to reprogram it. I think you won't have a lot of time. You move around, you jump up, grab it, and it goes a little louder for a second, then goes completely silent, never even turned red before you grabbed it. And then we cut over to Jethro where Sly sees the light goes out and then turns that way and starts to like backtrack around with his buddy and the hounds. So now both hounds, their backup and Sly and Jethro are all going to be moving around those rocks like in the area where all three of you are.
Hell yeah, let's beat him up.
But you will have time. You will have time to reprogram it. What do you want this thing to do?
What can I do with it? I mean, what does it do besides just like a sentry? Does it have any like lethal capabilities?
It vibrates, I think, right?
It's like a drone with a light on it.
Not sure why.
Actually, this one can explode. It's got a small charge inside of it, like the size of a bullet or something. Maybe it's just literally a one-fire bullet that it has primed. Like there's this, it's very elegant, but it has this tiny little plastic barrel that's designed to be lightweight, and it's just going to break upon first fire, but it's loaded with like a 45 caliber round in there that can fire one time.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, cool. It doesn't have to be too specific, but can I just have it so it's set on like a timer that it's going to like pop in the next, I don't know, 30 seconds?
Sure. Yeah, make a repair roll. Oh, you know what? Let's wait till you use it and then have you make the repair roll.
Okay.
Yep, you reprogram it. It's going to work 100%. It's going to work 100%, dude.
Okay, cool. That was easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about it.
You're so generous.
All right, so everybody's hiding over there except Kaz, who's still by the shooting range. Kaz, what do you want to do? Unless you've stopped and this other dude has moved and used this keypad already and entered some information in there.
And Kaz is just kind of watching right now at this point, right? Like keeping his eye out for what's happening. Maybe trying to get in a position where he could shoot this guy in the back easily.
Yeah. Do you want to follow behind them? Otherwise, you're still pretty close. You're probably still going to be short range.
Here's my honest opinion. Nobody's going to shoot me. So I just need to lay down flat and hide when the things start going bad. It'll be fine.
Wow, good old Kaz. Good old Kaz.
So good in a pinch.
boy.
I'm fine for, but you know what I mean?
Hey,
like
you know,
neither side thinks it's my fault. Like honestly, just trying to stay out of the way right now. Just setting myself up to not die when the shooting starts because it's going to start. I know the boys.
There's now just one light that follows Sly flying back kind of over his shoulder, illuminating everything around him as he walks through. Shadows are cast up in the little rock area where the two of you are hiding up there. Dorian, you can see it over your head as you're hiding between these two things. Make one more stealth roll. If you make this stealth roll, this will be it. Dorian, I think you're at a -1 because you failed before. You other two, because of the narrative, I think are at +2 each.
Yeah, boy.
+2.
I'm going to re-roll Sly with one of his bennies.
It's a 9.
He got a 6.
Got a 7.
Spend a Benny to re-roll this 3. And I've got a new edge, boys.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I roll this, the 5 I have, which would normally be a 1, is actually, or become a 4, is going to be a 6 now.
You fucking sound crazy right now. What? Well, I rolled a 1 that is a 4. that
It's
comes
like
to a
a custom
5.
edge. You wouldn't understand.
Let me give you a quick little rundown, right? So I rolled this stealth, and I got a 5, -1, that makes it a 4, which is a pass. But I spent Benny, and my new edge is Elan, which means when I use a Benny to roll my trait rolls, I get a +2.
That's amazing. I may have lied about the one more roll because Sly rolled a 5, which with his optics is a 6, which means you've tied again.
Ooh.
So they start to move past you, and then I think Sly stops. And it's like he's looking at you. Jethro, it's like you feel him looking, but he's just looking straight ahead, right? But of course, he has this ring of 360-degree optics. and he turns his body to match and starts to move towards where Dorian is hit. How do you want to move out of here? You could try to move towards the guns, which is a little more well lit. You could move back towards the entrance. You could go up somehow, like a little spider on the roof. Or you could crawl inside of something, which would be the easiest option and would involve the least modifiers. But if shooting starts, you'd be in a cramped position that might be bad for you.
Up sounds interesting, but do I have to go up towards that stalagmite, stalactite
I think
situation,
you could
or
climb
there's
on
some other
top of the
spots?
tractor that you're next to.
Oh.
Is the tractor, if the tractor is tall enough, then I'll definitely see about scampering up that, and maybe
Parkour, baby.
he
Roll.
heard like me put my foot up on like a loose piece of machinery, or like the step of the tractor is got like a loose
Sure.
screw or something.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, one more roll.
Don't tie it this time.
I would like
Yeah,
not to.
I like that. Still -1, my friend. He blew up a 6.
Is that good?
Okay, into a 1. It's only an 8, Marshall. And to be fair, if you make this, he's going to go, must have been the wind.
Yeah.
Must have been
Skyrim
the wind.
action there.
Down here in this cave.
Are there any
Must have
cardboard
been the wind.
boxes in this tractor that I can hop into, right?
Windham, dude.
just
Must
a
have been
lot.
the Windham.
A lot of sex
The,
dolls.
the wind
My
ripped the
6
lever
blew
off
up,
of the
Caleb.
fucking.
Oh my
Whoa.
God.
My 6 blew up into
A 1.
a 3. That
Oh.
makes
Son
it
of
a
a bitch.
9, baby.
It
Wow.
must have been the wind,
Wow.
Caleb.
Nice.
Wow.
Must have been the wind.
Damn.
I can't believe that shit.
Wow. When has this ever happened?
Never. And we always get caught every time.
So we described this ceiling as pretty short. This area is a little rougher, so maybe they have some of the bigger machinery here. But as you make it up to the tractor, from the ground level, you weren't even sure before you got up there was enough space for you. But once you get up there, I mean, you have an inch clearance on the top of you, fully prone on this tractor. So from the ground level, it really doesn't look plausible that anyone could be up there. So Sly moves slowly and then runs behind where you just were. He whistles as he turns, and a bullet flies off his bandolier and just whips past where you were. Like a bullet-like explosion rocks off the ground in sparks where your body would have just been as he looks around and then just slowly lowers his rifle.
Well, maybe I was wrong, huh? You feel that, though?
Feel what?
He touches a moment on his helmet and pulls up just a little bit, like Deadpool pulling up the bottom of his mask around his mouth. And he takes a breath in and then lowers it. And he looks to his shell hounds that do the little dog roll shake when they're wet, try to shake their backs off.
I don't know. Looks like somebody's messed up the air in here. Maybe a prankster.
Maybe it's just on the fritz.
He moves around to the boilers, if you follow him. The shell hounds get bored and just start to roam around back to what they were doing. He whistles and the lights dim down inside of their shells. The guy that put some stuff on the wall comes back to the room, is just standing. The other minion now looks bored as well, we did all this for nothing. He was hoping for some action. Sly moves over with Jethro, the green light hovering above you, as he walks over to the boiler and slowly moves like a thoughtful finger over a broken lever on the boiler.
Well, that's curious.
Maybe someone has something against the shellhounds. Maybe they're trying to get us down here. Divert it. A lot of folk don't like I've been doing this with the shellhounds. They feel it's unnatural. But I don't think they understand almanac like I do.
So you think someone snuck down here and broke the lever off of this because they don't like your shell hounds, and then what? Where are they?
You got a better story?
Suppose I don't.
Must have been the wind.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an odd sounded wind.
Oh, voice he's not heard
God,
yet.
it was the
wind.
goddamn
But from
pranksters.
his perspective, they cleared this. There was 2 shell hounds, 4 people searching, didn't find anybody. If they were going to shoot you, why wouldn't they have shot you?
Yeah.
This is broken now. I think from his perspective, he legitimately thinks they just wanted to change the air, and he's confused about why.
You have any friends at this party that you've taken down here before?
Plenty. I don't show everybody the merchandise, though. You're a prime customer.
It's probably just one of them then, right? Like you said, drunken prank.
I guess make one persuasion roll, dude.
What if I say 696969?
Oh, there you go.
You want to say it out loud?
696969.
Oh, yeah, I really like that. Add a +2 because he's so thrown by that. I blew up a 6.
You blew up a 6. I blew up 2 6s.
Wow.
Every
there it
goddamn
I got a 10.
time.
Plus a 3, plus 2. What the fuck was that? 11.
11? Yeah.
I got a 10, dude. Holy
Oh,
shit.
Holy
wow.
shit. We non-combated
That
this
was
shit.
nuts.
Dang, that is kind of crazy.
There's still time, okay? Hold on. Hold on.
Well, I'm sorry I made you all worked up over nothing. How about we close this deal and we can go back upstairs? I'll have my men search through here. Double check.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe I can win some more money off of you.
We're gonna switch to normal cards after this. I don't have the money to do tilt all day. Well,
He clears his throat, walks over.
Mr. Callahan, you picked one to your liking.
We cut over to the rest of the crows. Everybody is now bored. It's still going to be like, you could just wait for people to leave. It's just be a normal ass stealth roll, maybe even a +1 because you've succeeded so many. If you wanted to just try to get out of here, or you can just wait and bide your time.
I'm going to wait. Keaton's priority is to make sure that mostly Kaz is out of the line of fire. He's confident that Jethro could handle himself in a fight, but if something starts going down, Kaz is going to get shot right up there. So he's just going to kind of wait and make sure that nothing goes sideways.
Bubba, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just hanging out. I think that's the best call. I mean, we don't know if they actually got the information or not, right? So
Yeah, that's kind of where Dorian's at, is the Kaz and Jethro are still down here. That means we are still on the clock.
Yeah.
Still got
Okay.
stuff to do. And I think similarly, yet counter to Keaton, he is keeping an eye on Jethro. He thinks similarly that Kaz is not, there's no reason to shoot at Kaz. He's not in any danger. He's our mark. He's our dude. He's just, the guy that got us in the door. So he's making sure that Jethro doesn't have anybody like coming up behind him or anything like that. And so he'll slide his edict to sort of the edge of the top of the roof of this tractor he's on. So that way the barrel's at least pointed in the direction of where Sly and one or two of his guards are walking.
Well, I guess, Sly walks up to you, Kaz, and says,
Well, Mr. Callahan, you made a decision.
I have indeed. Kaz picks the largest, most manly looking gun out of the bunch. It's probably like an Uzi style gun.
cool.
Yeah, like a Mac 10 looking thing, very industrial and like square, blocky. It's not elegant at all. I'll take this. And he'll pull out, I like the other thing where it's like kind of an NFC thing where you touch and like you tap to transfer the money. So maybe I use
Or something you said early on was that the huge amounts have physical chips. There's no denominations for anything under 100,000 chips, but like 100,000 chip is like a literal platinum poker chip.
Yeah.
And then like 1,000,000 chips is like a literal gold poker chip,
And what was the price we agreed on? 15?
I think it was 15. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. Kaz doesn't know quite how to read a working man's vibe. So he reaches into his vest where he keeps the money pouch. He pulls out a massive, it's almost like a small teacup plate sized platinum chip, which is a 10 million, 5 ones for 15. And makes a little stack and then thinks about it again and reaches inside for another 200K in chips and puts them on top. He holds out the little pile. The extras for getting my man some exercise.
He death stares you, takes the 2 chips off the top and throws them to his 2 men working the room with him.
Pleasure, Mr. Callahan. Now, you be careful with that. Don't go firing it before you brand it, you understand?
Right.
Believe me, I'm in good hands here with Jay. One thing, though, do you have a case or something? I'm not going to walk around with this just out in the open.
Yeah, he whistles, and one of his men, gets you a case. Ooh, what kind of case does Sly have? It's a fur case. It's like a hard clamshell case. Hard clamshell, but it's got white fur over the whole thing.
thanks, Snoop Dogg.
There will be no mixing this up at baggage claim.
Yeah, it's custom made. An earth animal, actually.
Oh, Kaz feels the fur into his fingers. What kind of fur is it? Would I recognize it? Can I roll fashion lore?
He's going to start keeping his own edict in this thing.
I've already decided an animal on it.
Yeah, sure. Actually, Alex, why don't you just tell us what kind of white fur?
animal time.
Well, it depends. Like, okay, so what's the situation where they had to flee Earth? It's extinct.
Yeah, most Earth animals are extinct.
Let me run this by you.
Yeah.
I think there's a few Earth animals that could have made it onto whatever escape pods or whatever the hell.
Okay.
One of those, a rat. Rats go everywhere, right?
Okay.
Beautiful.
Maybe they've bred rats to have really long, fluffy fur that they use for clothing.
Fur.
You know, like the rabbits.
Like rabbits.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they're
Fucking lab rats
called
made
they're
around?
called
It's
cloud rats. Is their
Fluffy ass rats.
yeah, and they're kind of their fur might be fluffier by this point,
It's
right?
like a fancy thing.
Yeah,
now, though.
I think when Kaz runs his fingers over it, maybe he's felt this once or twice before. Like, it's fairly rare.
My God, is this rat?
Exactly.
Exemplary.
He instantly lights up and looks at Sly. I would also be very interested in your supplier for this.
Oh, well, I'm sure you know the type. Let's see, where do we end up buying that off of? Oh, you know what? It was a gift. Harriet Schreckengast, I think her name was.
Yeah. She would have this. Thanks. He looks wistfully down at the case. It's almost more valuable than the gun.
There's any shred of respect Sly had left for you is gone.
And I
It's
think
gone.
the camera cuts over to Keaton, like up in that fucking, like climbed up on that piece of rock, like, just shut the fuck up, Kaz. Just shut the fuck up. Just do the fucking deal, Kaz. You're gonna fucking blow it.
Oh, well, all right. Thank you very much. Pleasure doing business with you.
This is a dangerous piece of merchandise to have, Mr. Callahan. You keep it on the down low. My last buyer, a man by the name of Doza's already been picked up by the crows. Sold him two, one branded, one unbranded, and, well, I heard he's 6 feet under now, according to my sources. So, don't be flashing it to your friends. Keep it for self-defense or when you're out in the range, all right? Otherwise, it's coming back to me.
Oh, did Doza's come back to you?
Well, I hope he didn't squeal before it died.
Oh, I thought you
but
meant
not sure.
in an asset retrieval way. No worries. These lips are sealed.
I just got the news a few hours ago, so you might be my last sale. He smiles. But we'll see how much influence those termy fucks actually have this far sunside.
Kaz nods and is now like, it's that point in a conversation where you've said a bunch of nice things and you're ready to go.
I think he just motions towards the door.
Jethro, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was a pleasure doing business with you.
Listen, why don't you put down your contact info? I'll invite you for the next game if you're interested. I like a chance to win my money back.
Sounds good. I don't suppose I could trouble you one more time for that contact at Hitch Post Rail.
I do hope you'd come back to me first, but to be honest, I send people out there. They go out and they come back. It's a bit of a trek. It's about a month or two before I hear back from them. I'll let you do your own research if you're looking into it, but they're not easy to find. You gotta look for storm chasers of those types. They keep 'em moving, the rail does. Never quite sure where it ends up. And it's on the El Despoblado. Not a place I like to be and not a place I think most people like to be. It's dangerous, that side. So, if you want to go looking, you're free to, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think you're better off trying to find somebody that buys from them already.
I got some time to think about it now that I took 6 million chips off your hands. But maybe you'll see my resume after all here pretty soon.
I hope so, Jay. And did you come here with Felix?
He's friends with Harry here. Just happened to meet him.
His eyes kind of go up.
What's your take of Felix, Callahan?
Kaz thinks for a moment. He has a good take on Felix, but this is a man that he'd like to see fail with Felix. But also, he wants to get out. He doesn't see the sense in lying to this guy. He's very inconsequential to him. So this is me stalling while I try to figure out like what he would say.
How the hell are we getting out of here?
We're gonna wait until they leave, and we're gonna fucking sneak out and hope to God there's nobody in front of the door when we leave.
Yeah, I mean, we can camp out here for a while if we have to, but
We'll get out of here eventually.
I don't know. They're going to send someone to fix that shit, right?
Well, if they didn't catch us with their security bots, the fucking repairman's not gonna find us.
True that.
You haven't seen the repairman.
Vin Diesel comes
got
walking
1,000
through.
eyes.
He goes in there and starts tasting the air.
We cut back to Kaz.
I think you already have his measure. He's not much of a man, and as you said, his hands are deep in the pockets of those termy fucks.
I wouldn't count on it. It's a pleasure, Mr. Callahan.
Indeed.
Let me show you out.
Well, with no combat, he slings his fancy Edict Winchester, a slight wisp of smoke coming off the ejector. As it does, Alex, you can see the fine smoke particulates like twisting through the air, almost like the tendrils of an octopus. A few of them turning into like this powder on your hand, on your glove, and on your arm that almost start to like light or bubble up a little bit before you brush them off onto the ground and make your way into the airlock and back out into the party above.
I think Jethro's weapon returns to normal as well, and we just get a shot of his wrist, a little bit of blood trickling down as he puts the glove back on, and then returns his weapon to its case.
Thanks this week to all of our patrons, but specifically Jeremy Dunlap, Jacob Hardman, Kirby, Ariel Weiss, and Greg Gray. Along with this week, Jackie, Bingo Bango, Chase, Kate, and Eric. Thank you all so much. Casted this week, I'm Caleb Sunstead. You can find me on Twitter at MarshallCaleb. Cameron Reed, who played Keaton Crow, can be found on Twitter at CJReed211. Big thanks to him for handling a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Much love, my friend. My brother Isaac can be found on Twitter at Abel the Crow. He, of course, played the illustrious Kaz Crow. Jethro Crow was played by Alex Horrell, who you can find on Twitter at Alex Horrell. Bubba Crow was played by Cameron Day, who you can find on our Discord server, and Marshall Sims played Dorian Crow, and you can find him on Twitter at Mr. Malicious1. Music on the show was done by William Ecker at musicdirecker.bandcamp.com, where the theme for Terminus is currently available for purchase. Other music was provided by myself, thanks to our executive producer, Alexandria Majan. If you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at soundslikecrows@gmail.com or tweet at us at Sounds of Crows.